Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Welcome to my community. I appreciate you all. I'm so happy that you're taking a couple of minutes of your time to watch my channel. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Also, if you learn something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please subscribe. Please ignite that notification button because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary. I do believe that there's a lot of hypocrisy involved with what Kayleigh McEnany says and does, and think of this video sort of like an expose of Kayleigh McEnany. So if you're a fan of the White House press secretary, this video may not be for you. So fair warning, if all you want to hear are good things about the White House press secretary, you're not going to get it on this video, and now might be the time for you to click out of this video. Just fair warning, you heard it. Okay, well, if you're still here, I want to tell you a little bit about Kayleigh McEnany. She's a White House press secretary at the moment, and she reportedly earns about $183,000 a year. That is her income. This is taxpayer funded revenue from Kayleigh McEnany earns. And she is a vocal supporter of the president. And let me be clear, over 70 million of our fellow Americans did vote for the president. So this video isn't about the support for the president. It's not about that. This video is about what Kayleigh McEnany says, what she does, and I want you to be the judge for yourself. But as you can tell, as you're watching this video, I'm not a fan. I just want to be clear about that. So as far as Kayleigh McEnany is concerned, let's take a look at one of her comments in the past 48 hours about the other side inviting fraud and inviting illegal ballots. That was my understanding based on what she said. I want you to watch that segment for yourself, and then we'll dig deeper. And towards the second half of the video, I'm actually going to help you contrast that, what she's been saying now, what she's been saying recently. In fact, something she said as recently as today, and we'll contrast that with what she said in the past. But first, let's take a look at her press conference in the past 48 hours, which caused the Fox News host to essentially cringe and, want to cut away from her. Let's take a look at that first, and then we'll dig deeper into the backstory of the White House press secretary. Let's roll the tape and watch.
You don't oppose an audit of the vote because you want an accurate count. You don't oppose our efforts at sunlight and transparency because you have nothing to hide. You take these positions because you are welcoming fraud and you are welcoming illegal voting. Our position is clear. We want to protect the franchise of the American people. We want an honest, accurate, lawful count. We want maximum sunlight. We want maximum transparency. We want every legal vote to be counted, and we want every illegal vote to be...
I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this. I want to make sure that maybe they do have something to back that up, but that's an explosive charge to make.
So you saw that, but guess what? We're just getting warmed up. Because, this story never ends. I should be calling these episodes of Ignition Time the DC Comedy Hour, because there's just so much unbelievable news that we get almost every day. Today, Kayleigh McEnany was on Fox, and Kayleigh McEnany said, she was asked about President-elect Joe Biden receiving intelligence briefings. And she said that that would be a question more for the White House. Now, keep in mind, Kayleigh McEnany is a White House press secretary. She speaks on behalf of the White House. So she said that would be a question more for the White House. My interpretation of that is that, that depends on President Trump. That is my interpretation of what she said. But again, let's just understand, an individual who is the White House press secretary earning $183,000 a year reported that is taxpayer funded revenue. Not to mention, she also serves as a Trump 2020 campaign advisor. She serves in both capacities. And that's why I want you to watch the video all the way through to the end so you understand the full picture. So she was asked whether, about Biden receiving intelligence briefings. And I have talked about this in another video. And this is not just my belief. This is something that Andy Card, the former White House chief of staff with President George Bush, and John Podesta, the former White House chief of staff under President Bill Clinton, they wrote an article together urging there to be a transition even while this legal challenge plays out in courts, because the fact that the Biden team would not get access to the kind of information they need has national security implications for our country. I can tell you that when we as Americans argue red versus blue, Trump versus Biden. That's okay. We're allowed to do that. That's what makes our country phenomenal. But I can tell you that foreign actors in other parts of the world, we're talking foreign actors who don't like our country, they are enjoying this. They are enjoying this and they're hoping to sow more division among us. So it's okay for us to argue. My channel has supporters of President Trump. My channel has supporters of President-elect Biden, and that's okay. Listen, guys, we're all together in this, but we have to understand that there are national security implications, and there are people out there who want to see us fail. I'm not talking about red versus blue in our country. I'm talking about abroad. But anyway, back to what Kayleigh McEnany said. She's a White House press secretary, and she was appearing on Fox as a Trump 2020 campaign advisor to avoid any violations with the Hatch Act, which doesn't allow public officials to be able to take political sides. That's part of the Hatch Act. Let's roll the tape and see what Kayleigh McEnany had to say about the question as to whether Joe Biden should be receiving intelligence briefings or not. The fact is, you can decide for yourself. But let's see what Kayleigh McEnany says, since this video is about her. Let's roll the tape and watch.
A Republican, he said, listen, give Joe Biden the presidential daily brief. After all, Senator Harris she's on the Intel committee. She has high-level security access. Has the president considered that?
I haven't spoken to the president about that. That would be a question more for the White House, but I will say that all laws are being followed with regard to an expected transition, though we expect to continue on as the Trump administration. We will see how our litigation goes.
And in another segment, Kayleigh McEnany was asked to comment on whether states should be able to make their own interpretations about their voting laws and voting regulations, and what legal recourse the Trump campaign has to try and get the results overturned so that President Trump, reaches 270 electoral college votes. As you can imagine, Kayleigh was very supportive of this idea. Let's see her response on Fox today about potentially having the results changed if the law allows it. Let's see what she had to say. Let's roll the tape.
Controlled state legislatures would then, because they would not be certified, would then appoint pro-Trump electors who would swing the Electoral College in his favor. It's unclear exactly how seriously the campaign is taking that. How seriously is the campaign considering that?
Well, constitutionally, that is an accurate argument. It is the state legislatures that choose the electors. But right now, they're zeroed in completely on litigation.
Isn't that interesting? Now, here's what's even more interesting. Before Kayleigh McEnany got involved with the Trump campaign, she was a political commentator and she was an author before joining the Trump administration. And also what's interesting is, what has Kayleigh McEnany said in the past about Joe Biden? Now, when I say in the past, I mean as recently as 2015. This is prior to the 2016 presidential election. Now, she made some comments in August 2015, and that was when Biden was considering running for president at that time, and he didn't. And in an interview that was aired on AM 917 New York, McEnany said that she thought Republicans would, I quote, run into a problem if it is Joe Biden and if it is maybe a Trump on the other side. She did continue and she said, because Joe Biden, one of the things he's remarkable at is really kind of being a man of the people and resonating with middle class voters. This is important. I'm going to repeat this quote again. Because Joe Biden, one of the things he's remarkable at is really kind of being a man of the people and resonating with middle class voters. And in the past, she has praised Biden as a man of the people who resonates with middle class voters over the tycoon Trump. She did say that. And prior to becoming a prominent supporter of the president, Kayleigh McEnany praised then Vice President Joe Biden as funny and likable and a man of the people who resonates with middle class voters. And in fact, let's listen to this audio segment. I want you to hear it for yourself and I want you to be the judge. Let's listen to what she said in August 2015 and you can be the judge for yourself. Let's take a look.
You were advising a campaign. Which of the Democrats would you want to go head to head against?
I would say Joe Biden is who I'd want to go head to head against for the reasons you just articulated. That being said, I think the Republicans run into a problem if it is Joe Biden and if it is maybe a Trump on the other side. Because Joe Biden, one of the things he is remarkable at is really kind of being a man of the people and resonating with middle-class voters, feeling like coming off as human. You know, his gaffes, as much as we make fun of them, to a certain extent, they make him look human. So in that sense, he's likable. So while, you know, I think Joe Biden would be an easier person to beat, I think, at the same time, you know, we've got Hillary Clinton's mistrust or mistruths. We have someone who is not a good politician, so it kind of is a toss-up, really. But I say at the end of the day, probably Joe, although if Trump is against Joe, I think the juxtaposition of kind of the man of the people and kind of this tycoon is a problem, although Donald Trump remarkably is coming off as a man of the people despite being this, you know, wealthy business tycoon.
How things change, don't they? So currently, Kayleigh McEnany is a White House press secretary, and before that, she was a spokesperson for the Republican National Committee and the Trump campaign. She is, you know, she does work in an official capacity with the Trump campaign as well. And now she is a relentless critic of Joe Biden. She has mimicked many of the president's attacks on Biden, and she has called him, I quote, sleepy, and I quote, a radical socialist. That's what Kayleigh McEnany has said. I want to go back to this audio segment that we heard earlier really quick, because it's really important to understand, to sort of highlight what she said. She said, and I'm going to quote her now, because Joe Biden, one of the things he's remarkable at is really kind of being a man of the people and resonating with middle class voters, feeling like coming off as human. His mistakes, as much as we make fun of them, to a certain extent, they make him look human. So not since he's likable. That's what Kayleigh McEnany said. And she was actually asked whether he would be a better candidate than Hillary Clinton, you know, in the 2016 elections. We all know what happened in 2016. She said, and I'm quoting her, I think at the end of the day, probably Joe, although if Trump is against Joe, I think the juxtaposition of kind of the man of the people and kind of this tycoon is a problem. She said that. And she said, although Donald Trump's remarkably coming off as a man of the people, despite being this wealthy business tycoon. So you can see these comments, which are, by the way, completely different from the comments she's making today. But, you know, this allows you to essentially compare and contrast and decide for yourself. And, these aren't comments made by someone like 20, 30 years ago. These are comments made a few years ago. It's funny how our comments, how our priorities change after an election. And I think that's visible amongst our viewers because, you know, the country is so divided right now. I actually ran a poll in our community section. So go to youtube.com/ignition time and go to our communities section. And you'll see a poll that I ran asking, do you believe President Trump won the election? And, the results of the poll are surprising. You can actually check it out for yourself. So go to our communities section and look at the results of the poll. Thousands of people have participated in that poll. And you can decide for yourself where we stand. We are a deeply divided country right now post-election. But again, there is hypocrisy involved when it comes to certain officials, that's for sure. And just to be clear, back in 2015, McEnany also made similar comments that week on the Fox Business Network, and she predicted that Biden would be the nominee. She said, when you have Joe Biden here, who's funny and likable and can resonate with the middle class, he can really speak to the average everyday American, versus Hillary Clinton, who's cold and somber. Remember what she had to do, that calculated move of drinking a drink at a bar to seem like a human being. Joe Biden is a human and people will resonate with that. I predict that he will be the nominee. This is what Kayleigh McEnany said back in 2015. Now, as we know, Joe Biden did not run for president in 2016 and Clinton became the Democratic presidential nominee. Now, since then, I just want to be clear, Kayleigh McEnany has said that she has learnt of what she called, I quote, Biden's profound personal corruption. That is what Kayleigh McEnany said. And she said that the former vice president has become, I quote, an empty vessel for the liberal elites and the far left. That is a change in Kayleigh McEnany's position now. And these attacks are sort of in line with President Trump's attacks against Joe Biden. And Kayleigh McEnany, I want to be clear, has appeared regularly on Fox as recently as today. You saw the 2 segments of Kayleigh McEnany on Fox today. As a Trump 2020 campaign advisor, in order to avoid Hatch Act violations. And again, the Hatch Act prevents government employees, which is what Kayleigh McEnany is. She's a government employee. She's a White House press secretary. The Hatch Act prevents government employees from engaging in campaign activity in their official roles. Guess what? that line is already blurred. If you are going to see Kayleigh McEnany as the White House press secretary on the White House press podium, right? And then you see Kayleigh McEnany on Fox essentially criticizing Joe Biden, essentially talking about the other side inviting fraud, inviting illegal voting. I mean, come on, the line is already blurred. At this point in time, the Hatch Act becomes worthless because of the lines that are not only being blurred, but being completely shattered with what we are seeing. I want you to see this in, I had mentioned at the start of the video that if you're a big fan of Kayleigh McEnany, you shouldn't watch this video because your mind would already be made up. But this video is for our community where you're open to listening to both sides of the story. This is not about the red or the blue. This is about, the hypocrisy and the blurring of the lines that are happening and the shattering of norms that are actually happening. And look, guys, this video may or may not be popular, but one thing you've hopefully learned about me on this channel is me and my team, we tackle the difficult subjects. We don't dance around and tiptoe around the subjects. I am a patriot. I am a proud American, but if something's not right, I'm not going to stay quiet about it and tiptoe around it and dance around it. And if this means some individuals don't like it, I get it. I respect that. I don't criticize you. I don't hate you for it. I respect that. But, just like I respect you, this is my channel and I'm going to present my point of view and you can be the judge, depending on, whether you agree with the information or not. So again, Kayleigh McEnany refused to answer some important questions today, and essentially deferred, essentially sort of, pass the buck on them, if you will. She does receive a taxpayer funded paycheck, and it's unfortunate that she would choose to dance around a question that involves national intelligence, that involves Joe Biden getting national security briefings. So it is just unfortunate that she danced around that question, because that's a very straightforward response, that he should be getting briefings. But guess what? I guess her boss doesn't agree with it. Also, what the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said, there'll be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. He did say that. I thought that was completely out of line. He could have not said anything, or he could have said, let the legal battles play out in a court of law. He could have said that, but he didn't. And these things unnecessarily create a lot of tension between us and tension that foreign governments and foreign powers actually enjoy. I just want to be clear. Right now, the head of China, the head of Russia, the head of Brazil, the head of Mexico, they have not congratulated. Okay, they have not congratulated Joe Biden. This tells you who our friends are and who our enemies are, and who is looking to sow more discord, who's looking to create more problems within our country. Here's a comment from Joe Lockhart. He was a press secretary for the then President Bill Clinton in a different day and age. He said, it's getting lost in larger outrages, but the behavior from the press secretary is both outrageous and damaging. This is from another press secretary of the White House. Okay. So Joe Lockhart, who served as a press secretary for President Clinton, said it's getting lost in larger outrages, but the behavior of the press secretary is both outrageous and damaging. You cannot both be a paid government employee and a spokesperson for the White House. It's against the law. You can't refer questions to yourself wearing a different hat. Prosecute this. Just unbelievable. If you guys don't agree with this assessment, I understand, but unfortunately, I'm telling you where I stand on this. I think the behavior of the White House press secretary is outrageous. I think Joe said it well. I think it is hypocritical. I think it is wrong. And I do think that what is happening right now is borderline dangerous. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I want you to know that you are appreciated. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. If you learn something new from this video, please consider gently clicking the like button. Please ignite that subscribe button. Please ignite that notification button, but don't do it so hard that you smash the screen. I don't want you to smash the screen. Just having a little bit of fun there, me and my team. So please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Again, if you don't know anything about me, definitely check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I would really appreciate that. You can get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to SMS alerts list. You can also, if you want, get on our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts. You'll magically, you'll get emails from us in your inbox. You can opt out of the emails or the SMSs at any point in time that you want. I do have a crystal ball and I can predict the future. No, I can't. If I had a crystal ball and I could predict the future, I would. But, what I can do is give you honest, real, true news, news that you can depend on, news that you can rely on. So please, by all means, subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. All I ask is that you comment below, participate in our growing community. I'm very proud of our community. We are all proud Americans. I want to be clear, on our channel, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. It's not about being Democrat, being Republican. It's about being American. We are all Americans first. So I want us to try and come together as best as we can with actual news, actual objective information, which is what you're going to get on this channel. Please comment below, participate in our growing community. Please share this video with friends and family so we can grow our community. And again, as a reminder, you'll find the links to all our resources in the description section below. So if you're ever wondering what our resources are, just check out the description section of any video that we put out, and you'll see the links to all our resources so you can check out those resources on your own. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.